After a few tumultuous weeks, I finally saw the bad guys, and it was an engaging and sometimes messy ride. The animation is very good. The animators and editors fluidly combine CGI animation and 2D animation in the character designs and stylized action sequences. This movie is quite pleasing visually. The main characters have really cute and appealing designs. The problems come in with the script. This movie is a heist movie, and heist movies don't generally appeal to me, but I can look past that if I like the characters and am engaged by the story. Heist movies tend to have twists and subvert expectations. The Bad Guys does have twists, but I saw them a mile away. The only ways the story subverted my expectations was by being dumber than I expected it to be. A kids movie doesn't have to have airtight world building, but it does need to be competent in sustaining the audience's suspension of disbelief. I recognize that my suspension of disbelief can have a short tether at times, but this movie tested it a bit too much. The story takes place in a relatively modern Los Angeles. 99% of the sapient characters shown on screen are human, and there are seemingly only 7 anthropomorphic animals in the entire city. So it's a little hard to believe that the bad guys can disguise themselves to infiltrate a party or just go out in public without being immediately swarmed by police. The police seem to only go after them when they are actively engaging in a crime. And on the topic of disguises, the bad guys make the Team Rocket trio look like shapeshifters. They are 5 out of 7 anthro characters we see throughout the movie, and their disguises are absurdly paper thin. The shark is the worst with this, since he is supposed to be the team's master of disguise. There's this scene that knocked me out of the movie so hard it took me a while to get back on my feet. The team needs to just break into an animal testing site to free literal guinea pigs. There is this scientist in their way, so the shark disguises himself as the scientist's dad to play catch with him. And it works. One of the major elements of this movie is that the people, namely the humans, are scared of the bad guys. Which is weird because aside from them being anthropomorphic animals of species with bad reputations, they don't do anything particularly nefarious or threatening aside from theft. And thievery on its own isn't scary. No one in-universe or out is scared of the Cooper gang and Sly Cooper. The human populace is also bewilderingly dim-witted. There's a scene where the news anchor woman with pick-me energy says the line, "Always judge a book by its cover and all stereotypes are true," on live TV without a lick of irony. It's frustrating that this story tries to be clever, but those attempts at cleverness can be hampered by the clumsy world building and weak characters. This is when I go into spoilers, so if you don't want any spoilers, skip to this time code. The Bad Guys is yet another kids movie with a twist villain, and this twist villain is one of the worst I've seen. Professor Marmalade, the anthro guinea pig philanthropist, is a twist villain, and it's blatantly obvious. Like I mentioned earlier, he is one of 7 non-human characters, thus one of the only characters in the movie that matters. Another problem with this character is how badly the voice actor was miscast. Professor Marmalade is voiced by Richard Ayoade, famous for his role in the IT Crowd, and he sounds exactly like his character in the cartoon Apple and Onion.
A good person always pays attention to the needs of others. We can't report back to Chicken Nugget because as soon as we stop doing this, the traffic problem comes back.
Both those shows and the characters he plays in them have mostly dry humor and delivery, which don't work for this character. He doesn't have the range to play bombastic supervillain mad scientist. He can't do a hammy or menacing portrayal like Marshall Le Manoux as Dr. N. Cortex or Mike Pollock as Dr. Eggman. Marmalade just comes off as nasally smug and non-threatening, which just compounds on the sheer dumbness of his plan. A kids movie doesn't need huge stakes or complex scheme from the villain, but it would be nice if the plan had some credibility. Marmalade frames the bad guys for stealing a meteorite that he uses to power a machine that can control all the non-sapient guinea pigs in LA and have them commandeer the armored trucks taking bags of charity money to children's hospitals because in this universe, children's hospitals have bank vaults for bags of cash. His plan relies on no one thinking it's weirdly coincidental that guinea pigs steal the money. I thought the meteorite would be used to power a machine with a more practical function. Also, Marmalade is generally an imbecile. Mr. Snake pretends to switch to his side as part of a ploy to trick Marmalade and save his friends, even though he left Mr. Wolf and Diane to die without knowing that the other bad guys would save them. Why Marmalade trusts a literal snake who he framed, publicly humiliated, and sent to prison, and could literally eat him alive is never explained. He also lets Mr. Snake use the mind control helmet without second guessing that he could betray him. Marmalade also has no way to defend himself if Mr. Snake turned on him. I think Marmalade sucks as a villain for all the above reasons. I understand the tough position that the filmmakers were in with this story because they had to make a redemption arc for an entire team of 5 characters and fit in the complicated and tired tropes of heist movies. Aside from Mr. Wolf, Diane, and Mr. Snake, most of the characters are one note and don't have much character development. Mr. Shark, Mr. Piranha, and Miss Tarantula turn on a dime to being good. I expected more from Diane as a character. Early on in the movie, she has a press conference where she seems to challenge the bad guys into stealing an award as though she would be more active in that trap. But she's genuinely shocked when it looks like they succeeded. She falls for Mr. Wolf's charm when he's disguised way too easily. She's the fabled thief, the Crimson Paw, so it would have made sense for her intuition to be sharper. This script was less competent than I expected for a movie with this much hype and ambition. However, I was entertained. The movie kept me engaged even if some of that engagement was from analyzing odd choices. Nothing's really terrible except for maybe that bit with the shark disguised as that scientist's dad. That bit was just... ugh. Kids will enjoy this and adults might get a kick out of it. The movie is fun when it needs to be, and competent enough to not be a chore to watch. I would recommend The Bad Guys. Maybe we'll see more of them in the future. I know that I'll see a lot of them in fan art. Thank you so much for watching, I'll see you all next time.